Well, I'm honored to be here with all of you today. I consider it a blessing to have this opportunity to travel the state, share a vision for education, share my own life testimony and what God's done for me in my life, and where I think we can go together. I'm also honored because I think we have an opportunity to restore our state, and I think it really is critical that it starts with education. I think a lot of folks don't realize the challenges that are happening to us here in education in North Carolina. I'll tell you a brief bit about myself, and we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to share a little bit about my vision as well. I grew up in the Pittsburgh area. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. I grew up in steel country, and my dad worked in some of those steel mills for many years, and I got to help work in those mills myself to put myself through college. And, you know, we were forged in a blue-collar world. It was a little different. And when my mom died, I had to help raise my 3 youngest siblings and see what the education system was like from their point of view, from a parental perspective. And when my wife Jenny and I think about the world we want for our kids, we look at what's happening in the schools right now. And we know for our son Gabriel, it's not where it needs to be. So I got involved. I spent most of my life, you know, working to help others. I was like a chief development officer for the National Children's Charity, Big Brothers Big Sisters, here in North Carolina, building a program called Mentoring Children of Prisoners, helping 13,000 kids a year who have a parent incarcerated. Prior to that, I was the director of a program called Harbor House, helping 8,000 kids a year who were homeless or abused or abandoned. And prior to that, I was a city manager for a small community and understood what it was like for a community to have to deal with issues of tax burdens. And we cut taxes, and we ended up producing surpluses for our communities. So I ran for the Wake County School Board, and I said, well, that's got to be crazy. Anyone who has ever seen or heard about the Wake County School Board over the last few years? Some of you might have seen us on CNN, Fox News, New York Times. Those are my routine critics. And I ran for the school board. It's the largest school system in the state, the 16th largest in the nation. It's 165 schools, 18,000 employees, 150,000 children, and a $1.5 billion budget, 4 times the size of the budget at DPI. It's a beast. And it had crazy liberal bureaucracy that was going nuts on our kids. They were busing kids all over creation. So we put an end to that. I said, enough is enough. It's time to put parents back in charge of education again. We know what was best in our local community. In Raleigh, and the state DPI current superintendent said, well, that's not right. You have to bus for these quotas. I said, Raleigh doesn't have all the answers. We need to have our answers here in our own community. The federal Department of Education came down, calling me Tea Party Tedesco. They put me on Comedy Central and thought it was a joke and thought I would back down. And I said, Washington doesn't have all the answers either. We have to have the answers for our communities. We have to fight for more local control in our communities. And I did that. We took all 165 schools and turned it over to a parental choice model. Let the schools compete with one another. Let the parents have to pick the ones that are better. Let them use the free market principles of that for innovation and accountability. Then we cut $100 million worth of waste in bureaucracy. And we did it without cutting a single teacher. We actually gave teacher bonuses, put $32 million more into the classrooms, and doubled our fund balance so we didn't have to ask our county commissioners for a single dollar more. You can do that in schools across the state, but you have to have good business leaders who know how to do it. We outsourced parts departments, we changed fuel contracts, we changed administrations and operations departments, we trimmed departments. You have to have skilled administrative leadership that knows how to do that and won't back down and is proven and tested. So we did that. Then we had the chief bureaucrat who'd been there for 40 years and said, well, it has to be an educator. It always has to be an educator. And I respect our educators. Like I said, I'm a champion of our educators. I fought to make sure that we gave more money to them. But I said, you know, that's not right. We need leadership. So we fired that liberal bureaucrat and replaced him with a general, General Tony Tata from the 82nd Airborne Division, now runs the largest system in the state. So one of my liberal colleagues looks at me on the board and she goes, well, that's just great, Mr. Tedesco. He can shoot and kill, but can he teach? And I said, you know what? We don't need a teacher. We have 18,000 great teachers. We need a leader. We need a leader. And that's the problem with North Carolina's education system today. We've had 100 years of democratic control of the education system, and what have we seen? We've had countless education governors, and they have failed our children. 1/4 of our kids aren't graduating every year. 50% of our minority kids can't read on grade level. 2/3 of our kids who do graduate go into the community college system needing remediation. That costs you as taxpayers twice. That questions the value of a high school diploma in North Carolina anymore. We need leadership in this state. We don't need leadership who's going to bow down to the governor or that liberal state school board. We need leadership who will stand accountable, elected by you the people, to stand up and tell those people what the people of North Carolina want. So I'm asking you, get involved. I'm honored, all right, to have come in first place in a 5-way race. I'm honored to have earned the endorsements and support of Tea Party groups from the coast to the mountains and almost every other one in between. And you know what? They think it's something that I'm scared of when they want to go around on Fox News and CNN and call me Tea Party Tedesco. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my values, and you need to elect people who are like that in every one of these races, not just my own. I'm telling you this because I'm afraid for our country and our state. You need to elect people who aren't ashamed. I'll tell you who I am. I'm a conservative Christian man. That's me. Ashamed to believe in limited government. I am not ashamed to believe that it was liberty and free markets that made this country great. All right? Those are the principles I will work with. We will go in there. We will trim that DPI culture, that 800 employees in the Pink Palace downtown, and we will flip it upside down. I'm going to turn the whole model around. So what I want to do, and I know how to do this, because we've done this. And I've done it when I was a town manager. We've done this. We want to change it from bureaucratic oversight to customer service. They should be working to serve you and your local districts. You pay taxes to them. We should be helping you fulfill your needs and making them produce real measurable results. We can trim millions of dollars. We can produce a new system. But we also still, while we make it leaner, we also have to make it meaner. We can make it strong because education does not belong to the federal government. Education is a states' rights issue. And that's why we have to have a strong State Department of Education with a strong superintendent who can stand up to that Federal Department of Education and be a firewall for North Carolina's children when they're pushing agendas that are not right for us. And they're coming. They're sneaking in all the different agendas they want as they're rolling out a Common Core curriculum and their agendas for continuing with Agenda 21 and sustainable development, social equity. And you know, they're teaching everything except America. We don't teach American values anymore. That's a problem. Abraham Lincoln told us it is the knowledge base that's being built. It's the education of this generation that will be the politics of the next generation. We're not winning. We're not losing the war to liberals right now because of the liberal media. We're losing the hearts and minds of our children. We're losing the ability for critical thinking. We have lost more intellectual capital, moral fiber, and an understanding of what it means to be America than we're losing Social Security. We're losing it fast. There's 1.5 million children in this state who are in our schools. And those numbers are compounding every few years by the millions. Who's going to be here to know what it is to be America? We actually have to teach shared American values again. We have to teach entrepreneurship, capitalism, free markets, because those things are not learned through osmosis. So I will fight for those things. I have fought, and I have fought, and I have stood unwavering, and I don't care if they had 5,000 people in the streets of Raleigh marching with the big Reverend Barber and the NAACP telling, hey, hey, ho, ho, John Tedesco got to go. We don't need Tea Party Tedesco. And you know what I said? I don't care what you say. I care what the people of North Carolina say. The people elected me to keep my word and do a job. And we're going to do that job. I think our children are worth fighting for. We've never had a Republican superintendent in this state. Never. Never. We've never had a superintendent who stood up and actually seized the power that they're giving in our state constitution under Article 9 of our state constitution. They don't have to roll over and play dead to that state school board. They can speak up and call them out on these issues. They don't have to just be a patsy for the governor. They are, and this went to the courts. Some of you may remember when Beverly Perdue tried something. They do have the power to be the head of that administrative department and trim all that. So let's elect proven conservative leaders who will get the job done. I'm going to close with this. We had a 5-way race, and I mentioned I was honored to get a lot of endorsements from Tea Party groups and conservative groups across the state. We actually just got a great one this week. Former NCGOP Chairman Tom Fetzer wants to get involved in our campaign and let people know that we need real leadership in education. And it's critical, and I'm honored to have his support because he knows something that a lot of other folks who've endorsed me across the state know. I will not make everybody happy. I never want to be the guy that 100% of the people like all the time, because if I am, I have failed. I want to make some people mad. I want some people not to like me. At least 49% of them, maybe? Not at least, but, you know. But less than 49% of them, right? No, but you have to stand up for your values. And what people know about me is, and my supporters and critics alike admire this about me. Actually, the best way to say it is the way Dot Helms, Jesse's widow, told me once over at lunch. She said, you know, John, in a lot of ways, you remind me so much of the spirit that Jesse had. She goes, because you say what you think, and you stand by it. And they can put you on the paper and the news and do this every single day about you. And you don't care, because you know who you are. And you know what? I know who I am. I know where I've come from. And I know by the grace of Jesus Christ alone where I'm going. And I don't need anyone else to tell me that. So I will fight for our children. I want you to join me in this fight. On July 17th, I need your vote to move forward. And then after that, we need you involved. I need you involved not only in my race, but in all of your local races. You guys are doing yeoman's work here in your community. I'm working with a coalition of folks to help build conservative school board leaders in their local districts as well. You got to take back these institutions. Bring back conservative values to your city councils and your school boards. Because if you don't, we're going to wake up 20 years from now, and the America we loved will no longer be without a single shot being fired.
Right.
I thank you very much. I'm going to give you my website. It's Tedesco4kids.com. I'm ultra-conservative, so you see the little flyer here with me on it. Even though I know they only cost a nickel, if you'd be kind enough to share it with one of your friends so we can get some value out of it, I'd appreciate that. And remember, we need different leadership, because Einstein told us to. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting different results. We have June Atkinson running now to serve 12 years on the grounds that she's been in the classroom, she's an educator, she knows better than the rest of us. Well, you know what I know? I know she has to go if our children are going to have a future. So, thank you.